Hey y'all, so Stand Up Gaming here again with my 5th vlog. And yesterday you saw me print and install this shroud. And I think if you watched that episode, basically it was kind of a fail because it was too big. So I couldn't help myself. After I turned off the camera and uploaded the video, I was already on my PC, so I thought, you know what, let's open up my CAD. And basically I did find where my problem was, and I've since corrected it, and this is what we have now. It's a little dark, but basically I reprinted it, and kind of want to install it, but I do need to print out another part, and that's to address the RGB issue. So stay tuned for that. I'll be right back. On the newer shroud, we basically have no more logo, but we are still going to use the RGB, and basically you will still hopefully see the logo. It just will look a little different, and I'm printing out the part for that right now. The print is finished, and it's had some time to cool off on the build plate, and that's why it's already lifting, which is a good thing. And so let's take it off and I'll show you what we're working with. So it's a really thin piece. It's about 2 layers thick, and basically it's my logo. We're going to place the stencil right inside here, and we're going to glue that in place right over there, and then the RGB will sit in there. And then the hope is that when a light, like for instance from my phone, shines through, we should be able to see my logo with the RGB. And let's find out if that works. So I'll go ahead and use this glue. It's Craft Prots, but apparently it's a special formulation of super glue that's meant for 3D printing. And so far it's worked pretty good, so I've been using it. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And then we're going to lay this stencil inside here. Actually, before I install this onto the video card, I did want to go over the changes I had made from the previous shroud, and obviously it is shorter. Someone in the comments did mention they actually watched all the current vlogs so far and found where I made my mistake, and I was off by 8 millimeters at one point, and then added another 2 millimeters for the actual shell, and that's what accounted for that extra like 10 millimeter height that wasn't needed. And yeah, so good eye on that person. But basically, here's the original, basically all straight edges. We had the logo that kind of messed up because it was printed vertically. And so after I did my vlog upload yesterday, I went into my CAD and found out where my problem was in terms of creating it 10 millimeters too thick. And then since changed some of the geometry. So if you'll notice on these, when you compare these two faces here, like this is purely flat. What I've actually done is I've made this slightly wider. Let me see if I can get that illustrated here. It's like super slight, but you'll notice that it is a little bit wider, and that's to allow for some space for the fan cables. And then by making it wider, I still needed to take into account that the mounting tabs for the video card haven't changed, and that's why I needed to inset the mounting points. And so you'll notice that there is like some surface changes for the mounting. You can see my ugly print here. This is normal PETG, not PETG with glass fiber like the original one was. Really not happy with the quality, but it's in white and it hides it really well, so I'm pretty okay with that. And then you'll notice I did do some chamfering of the corners, kind of just give it a little more refinement. But not that like this one really needed it, but yeah. And I also just got rid of it. I thought I needed this little like notch to clear the heat sink of the GPU, but I didn't. So now we're just stuck with this like flat back. And here's the original shroud, just for reference. And yeah, let's get this thing installed and see how it looks. All right, so we've got the video card ready to roll. You'll notice I kind of just jammed the RGB strip on the tab, and it'll just stay in place there. And then it should line up with the logo. It's not perfect, but close enough. All right, so let's go ahead and get the fans installed. To get the fans in, I will be bending the wires in on itself like so. And so it's going to be placed inside here with the fan wires like that. With the fans in, we can just start screwing it in now. All right, with the fans in, I'm now going to install the shroud onto the video card. In the mail, I do have some adapters that'll turn this connection into these connections. So we can have the video card power the fans so that I don't need any external wires or anything, but that's for later. All right. Now I'm going to get these screws in. All right, and with that, the video card with the new shroud is complete. And I will say it looks pretty good. It's still pretty chunky considering we couldn't get the fans directly on the heatsink because of the tabs that are inside, but it's definitely not as chunky as yesterday's shroud. And let me go ahead and install it right now and see if that RGB stencil works out. So on second thought, I'm really not happy with how this RGB light is installed in this video card, so I'm going to use this glue tape to attach it on this stencil instead. I'll probably have to do that off camera because I think there's not going to be any good angles we can get, but I'll try to film it if I can. We have here the permanent glue tape, and we're just going to put a little bit on this corner. We don't really need that much. Just enough that it just kind of stays in place. I don't want it to be like super permanent because obviously this video card's not going to live like this all the time. Alright, so here is the PC setup with the new shroud. And the logo didn't really quite come out how I thought it would. I think the RGB strip might have slipped a little, so I may have to go back in there to readjust it, but I think it's doing its job. And I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Let me go ahead and turn on the lights to kind of give you a different look at it as well. And with the lights turned on, obviously the SUG logo is not as bright. However, the RGB was kind of just, you know, a little bonus. The main thing was to get myself a white video card, and I believe we have done that. Right now it's just running off of a PWM motherboard header, so you know, this is my finger snapping, and that's how loud it is. And it seems to be running pretty cool too. So again, this is just an aesthetic exercise, but I think it's turned out pretty good. Yeah, I think the RGB header's like shifting. But still pretty happy about it though. So thanks for watching, and if there's any more updates to this, I'll post it. Otherwise, the next vlog will probably include something else. Cheers.